Okay, yeah, people jumped right on in. Don't know why this chair won't move. That's funny. Oh, okay. Yeah, guess the wheels are dug in. Something going. Hey, UPS is coming to the front door. Let's see if they ring the bell. Yep, they did. There go the dogs. Yep. And there goes UPS. Thank you, boys. So we got David and Attaway Girl and Robert. And we're going down. Alonzo and Brent. And it looks like Dennis and Ed. And I can't see the last two that are under there because I'm in that weird kind of spot. Still got to fix this monitor thing. Snooze this. Snooze this, snooze that. Nobody's going to get that one this week. Unfortunately. David, Lacey says hi because she's there. So they've worked it out where they will actually share a phone sometimes. That's good. That David will share his phone occasionally with Lacey. I know, that was an unfair one too. Because I don't think anyone's going to get that. I had another one I was going to do, and I decided to do that when I was having fun with that this week. And now I feel it was a little unfair. Maybe that one was easier. Hippie music. We could call it hippie music. There's Arthur and other people. It happens every now and then. Let's see. I don't know what Ed's saying. He's too far down there. He's buried. Gimme. Second. What? 3 cachet spell. No, someone's going to just talk Dutchman stuff. Robert's going to say, do you believe in the 3 cachet spots in Hewitt Canyon? This stuff. What are your thoughts? Well, there were 3 caches. There's probably other caches by other groups. So if you're talking about Dutchman's caches, there'd only be one left because he cleared out the first, then he cleared out the second, and there should just be the one left. Okay. Maybe that's what I need to do, answer everything musically. I know it's got to bug a bunch of people because they've heard this. Anyhow, there we go. So I kind of answered that. I don't know what Ed was saying. and my Jigami second. And then 10 years out, well, that was the second song. Oh, someone got it. Someone got it. Who was that? I can't see who it was. Somebody got it. Space Lord. Space Lord. Slow motherfucker. Ooh, Space Lord. We won't go through the whole song. That was good. The 10 years after is good too, Ed. Yeah. But enough of that. Enough of that. So we did that. A little 10 years after. Oh, I can get this chair to move so I can be closer so no one's yelling at me for not being up next to the mic. Hope everything's going well with you all. Space Lord. Steven got it. Steven got it. That's right, Space Lord from the band Monster Magnet. Couldn't sing it because it gives it away. That's that one of those songs that plays on the radio. Everybody always goes, man, what is that song? That song's really cool. Space rocker, they call it stoner rock by those guys. Pretty cool tune, though. I think it's the only song they've ever played by them on the radio. 107 degrees right now, even though we're starting a cooling trend, they keep saying. So by next Friday, it's supposed to be down to 98, the high, 71, the low. So we are dropping, but it's been like that we had that cool week or so, and then it went back up, and they keep saying it's cooling down, and then it keeps not cooling down. I do not know what to think of it. And they pushed fire restrictions, so I will be checking on that tomorrow with the powers that be, because fire restrictions in county parks in a lot of places is until October 31st. So we are asking anybody with charcoal grills and stuff to keep everything contained. No, open fires except for the designated fire pits and the ramadas. And there is a couple fire rings that are available, but we're asking people to be very preventative measures down there in the wilderness currently. So, and it feels like 109, which it always feels hotter than it is. Humidity is just going through the roof at 10%. It's dry. So, and there is no chance of precipitation or rain. There isn't no chance of anything. So it is there, and then people are sending me messages because though people seem to know I do this and discuss it, then they try to send me texts and stuff while I'm doing it on completely unrelated things. So there you go. It's been a rough day. Acoustic guitar is healing. I find it therapeutic. I enjoy it every day. So I like to just sit and strum chords, and it doesn't matter what it is. Sometimes I just go think of anything, everything, and just keep trying to figure something out new or whatever. I don't practice, and I don't do scales. I just play, and then I go, man, that sounds like that's a key note. That kind of goes like that. Now, what's the rest of it? And I'll just play and mess around. So I like doing that a lot. But I'm thinking I'm going to have to change these strings. I'm afraid to change them because the guitar has sounded really well on the lives, and I don't know what kind of strings they are. I changed it from the originals. I put a new set on. I didn't keep the pack, unless that's it. I have to check what it is because the strings have been really, really good to me. But I know they've been on there probably at least 7 or 8 months. And I probably should change them, but I kind of like them the way they're sounding. But I don't know. I'm torn with that, but I feel like I should change them. And then I'm worried I'll lose some of the tone that I'm liking. But Hewitt Canyon, I scouted from Google Earth. Well, you can't really scout it from Google Earth, trust me. But followed the creek to the source, meandering northwest. There's a giant house-sized black cube with a white dot. Well, I don't know. I could look up there. I've been up through there. Probably the very place you've been, I've been. Let's see. Howdy all. Sorry I'm late. Well, there's no apologies for being late. It's not like I take attendance. I do say people's names, but it's not. I'm keeping track. There's no pad here where I check people off. Should I do that? It sounds great, really. Well, I'm hoping so. And there's Bobby. Hope everything's going well for you all. And then I got to go around the side of the mic. Can we all just quit our day jobs and gold prospect? I don't know if I'd want to gold prospect all day, every day. I'd want to do other stuff, work on the car, play some guitar, go swimming in the pool, which I did today. I worked on the car and I went swimming. And I played guitar so far. So this afternoon I've done a number of different things. I don't know if I'd want to prospect every day or pan every day. I'd like to do multiple things of different things. And I'd like to be in the air conditioning when it's warm. I think I've earned that with age. So Wayne, I was helping reply to Porch Dutchman Caches. The big one is still out there. Yes, the big one's supposed to still be out there. Unless someone found it. And there is always the chance that someone found it and didn't know what it was and whatnot. Because Waltz would have put that in and then he would have felt it was still there since he hadn't checked since around 1880, 1879, 1880. So you got to look at that someone could have, in the last 134 years, someone could have come across it and not known. They could have come across it earlier, they could have come across it later. There are people, and I know there are people that join us and come on here and sometimes have a different perception or read the wrong book, or they go by YouTube videos of other people. And they now more people saying they're late. You're never late. It records and then it repeats, so you're never technically late. But, people have their different perceptions. So someone could think, oh, this is a Spanish cache. This is a Mexican cache. This is Waltz's cache. So people could run into it and just say, hey, I'm just going to take this, which is what I would probably do. I mean, I would be more likely to say, hey, I found this laying around here, and I think this might have been part of Waltz's camp, and trying something else, and then I would have taken the majority of what I found, and yes, not sat there. Yeah, saying I found one of his caches, and then trying to explain the gold, and then the federal government getting it. No, it would be much easier just to cash in the gold, wouldn't it? So, and who knows how much it is. It was bigger than the first two, and we don't know how exactly big the first two were. Let's see. Where is Al Morrow's gravesite? I believe Al's gravesite, is it in the Mesa Cemetery? I believe it could be in the Mesa Cemetery. There's a whole bunch of people from there. I think that's what Ed Piper is, the Barclays are. Because I think I was down there by Hohokam Park, Old Hohokam, the Cubs. And I went over to the cemetery because, like a good Dutch hunter before a ball game, you should go do some research. And I was just walking around, and I kept running into names I was very familiar with all over the place. I was like, oh, I know that name. And then I'd be, oh, well, I know that name. And so, because historically you start to research and understand the names and the spouses and all these different people. So I'm pretty sure Al would be buried there, which that would have been the closest adjacent cemetery. So I would try Mesa. Pretty much figuring that. I don't think he had family and things were shipped out. Do you think Waltz had an actual mine or acquired somebody else? He had a mine. He didn't acquire someone else's gold. It was too detailed of a story. He would have told Petrash and Thomas. And then the ore was still rough. It wasn't, it had been pared out. But, yeah, I'm sure it was a mine. And since they couldn't find anything that matched it to this day. Okay. Mesa City Cemetery. Whatever it's called out there. I don't know. It's Mesa. Might be just Mesa City Cemetery. There's a lot of good cemetery lookups. Actually, if you go in the database, you can look up Albert Erland, Erland, Morrow, Morrow, and his death certificate should be public in the death certificates published online, and on there it should show you his death certificate, and it should tell you who the mortician was and the place of burial. It should be listed on there. Sometimes it's different. They were going to send them somewhere and they don't, but yeah, it should be on there. So Woody Wampler's my favorite out of the bunch. Just all Woody. Something about that man. He is valuable knowledge. Yeah, it was with Woody and Frank Saturday, and then Woody went out in the desert prospecting, and Sunday, and then Woody broke down. Things didn't go good for Woody, but he is safe and sound. I think he's back up in Dewey now. He had a close call. He made a mistake. We told him, do not go in the desert when it's 110 degrees. And he took that side-by-side he has. And I think the transmission went out this time. Last time he busted a tie rod, ran into a wall. Hey, Huntington Beach. And then, and I was curious also that Spanish or Peralta might have left. Well, the Peraltas were Spanish. Cache, if the Apaches were quick to attack in those days, 1500s. Well, okay, we'll get to a history lesson here. Love your show. Thank you very much. And then KG7 says, thank you. And all my problems go away. Companion in the desert. Woody Wampler. No wiser words. Now, a lot of Woody's problems surface because of panning in the desert. I've been with Woody when he's panning out there. He has good days. He has bad days. We'll let things kind of coolant temp sensor, hopefully easy for Woody. Cooling temp. Woody's cooling temp sensor, hopefully easy fix. Now it was I think it was the gears. Something, I don't know. He told Frank on the phone. Yeah, Frank got a phone call. Yeah, Frank, I broke down. I'm in trouble. And then he didn't tell him where he was. So Frank called me, and I'm like, hey, shit, I'm further than you. I don't know what to do for him. We'll have to wait and see. And then we'll try to get someone closer to see if they can find his truck. And then we'll have to go searching for him because we don't know which way he went or down which wash or anything like that. Love your stories. Thank you. Love that too. Have one like it. Okay, we were back to where were we? The 1500s, 1800s. You got to remember, Mexico was under Spanish rule till 1821. So it's Spanish rule. It's Spain, New Spain. That's the name of it. And then there's a war, and it goes on. And it started in around 1910, 1902, maybe 1910. And there's different provinces and little things going on and different places taken. And of course, Spain's having to, from all the way from Spain, go back and forth. And there's a lot going on in Europe at the time. But so the war kind of ends in 1921, but it doesn't get completely finished off till about 1929. And at that point, most of the people involved are Spanish. They're Spaniards, but they just happened to live in Mexico and they were looking for independence. So figure 1929, but then shortly thereafter becomes the Mexican-American War. And the United States invaded Mexico and got to, I think, to Mexico City. And so then the Gadsden Purchase happens in 54. So if you're going around 1929, 30, and then the war. So there's just a little 20-year thing where Arizona, southern Arizona, is part, and New Mexico is part of Mexico. So they're pretty much Spanish, the people that would have been here. So the Peraltas were Spanish. They were descended from Spanish. They were a Spanish family. And so I think it always puzzles me how everyone thinks, the Mexicans would have generationally probably at that time started to become more Mexicans. But most of the people that were involved with Mexico and part of the Mexican government at that time were Spanish. They were Spaniards. It was kind of like most of the colonists were English. So, we don't think of that way, but they were. But it's okay. So, since we've seen each other, I don't know who Queen Priscilla is. I don't know. Sorry. Priscilla. I don't know. Okay. Can you show picture of Pyramid Rock? No, it's on the shelf behind me. You can see it. Here, hold it. I got to do that thing. There it is, right on the tip of my finger, right there. It's balancing on my tip of my finger. It's right there. There is the Pyramid Rock, sitting right on the shelf behind me. It's been very happy there. Okay. Did you already give the big reveal of how you're... Oh, no, I didn't give a big reveal. They showed up and they fixed it. Took an hour or two. The flow switch, safety switch was broken. And that was one of the problems. So they got that fixed. And it is up and running and been fine. It was about an hour or two. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad, very bad at all. And the guys were super nice, and they stayed late and got it done. So it all got done, and it's all been up and running and good ever since. So waiting for the next thing. Jacob had a gold mine, so the story goes. Wouldn't tell no one where to get gold. Some men tried, some men died, and then they followed Jacob there. Okay. So, yes, the air conditioning is working, which is important. Guayan, okay, were Mexican with Spanish blood and they didn't care for Spain in some aspects, little history. Well, they just liked their independence. And part of their independence, it wasn't so much a dislike of Spain, was because Napoleon, there was a lot going on in Europe with Spain and a lot of problems with the king and various things. And that kind of was how the colonists here were. And they had been generationally been in Mexico, and they just felt they should be independently their own country. And Spain fought them tooth and nail. Spain held ports up to like 1830. They were holding ports, certain ports too, still. So there was a lot of problems with it. So like I always try to point out, the Spanish and the Mexican, and then the Mexican-American War, up until you get to the Gadsden Treaty, there's a lot of, most of the families involved, including the Peraltas, a lot of these families had very Spanish roots. So we should always remember that they're not necessarily Mexico, and Mexico as an actual country had southern Arizona for a very, very brief time. So it was, boom, it was suddenly gone, and everything, and then it was here. And you can look at historical records and stuff, but it's very... And one of the interesting ones I remember is in Arizona, because remember it was divided into... That was another problem when they would look to make a territory at first. There was the problem of dividing it because it was during the Civil War, and there were no slaves in Arizona. I guess we don't count the Jesuits and the natives, right? But... I guess they didn't count that, but there were no slaves, so the population was like 93,000, but that's New Mexico and Arizona, and they listed no slaves. Nobody said they owned anybody at that time. And you can look at those they're interesting to see the breakdowns and who was who. I know one of the things is that the Mexicans lost everything in that whole thing. So, but we got the culture. But yeah, the argument I always make is it's not a Mexican culture that you think of necessarily in Tucson and a lot of central and southern area. It's actually a Spanish culture to a degree. And Trevor said as much. He said the food's very similar, but he said and it would change over time because there were more people from Mexico in southern Arizona. But it wasn't originally like little Mexico. It was more like Spain, and then the reason everybody would have gave it up is groups like, all the indigenous groups that were here before them, not originally, because they, I'm sure, kicked out the people before them when they came over from Russia into Alaska, then came down. But the main important point on all that is that they were kicking the Mexican butts. Part of the Gadsden Treaty, I believe, was that the United States had to help keep the Apache and other groups from going down into Mexico and causing problems for them. Because if there was anybody in all this talk that hated somebody, the Apaches detested and hated the Mexicans with a passion. And that was probably come from the Spanish as well. So, but there were a lot of problems there. Okay. I would be Woody's golf. I don't think Woody plays golf. He likes to fish. And he doesn't like horses, like a night squire. Woody will not go near horses. He hates horses. He says they hate him and they'll bite him. Did you ever see where someone found a trophy made of gold in Massachusetts? No, I never. No. When the script is decoded, it's worth 100 Bitcoin. Well, I don't know what that's worth. I don't know exactly why you went there with it with Bitcoin. I know you remember our magical time in the Florida Keys. I'm trying to think if I've ever been down to the Florida Keys. I've been to Orlando. I don't know if I've ever been to the Keys. I don't think the Keys is a place I've ever been. Salvador's been in the Keys. Maybe you confuse me with the short, wiry Mexican. Summer of 87, we made magic. Now I'm being trolled. So, no, 87 I was not. I haven't been to Florida. I'm trying to think. Florida, yeah, not 87. 87, I know where I was. I was nowhere near Florida. Tucson Chuck, hi Wayne. Hey, how's it going? Being trolled. Don Pedro came from, I don't know why I got into a Spanish accent with that, came to Santa Fe and claimed it for New Spain. The walls of the governor's building. That was something that Jim Bark did. He went to Spain and tried to find any Peralta bills, way bills, and some information, and he was unable to find anything, and that was something I went through with a lot of people. Were they able to find? And a lot of those documents, Trevor said, when he was in Spain, the treasuries, mind-blowing, but just even the documentation. One, you got to be very fluent in Spanish and know how to look through that stuff. And it's just a monster pile of stuff. Because they did keep track of stuff pretty well because of the church and the government. And everybody was entitled to what everybody felt they were entitled. I don't know what this is. Okay. Hi, Tucson Chuck. Oh, it's Stephen Montezuma Milo. Okay, he's talking to Chuck. Okay. Dang, you were awesome. Can't wait to see you at the camp for campfire stories from all. There you go. Yo, Wade. Josh Carter showed up. If we could combine the Google Chats program into YouTube, we could all get coordinated at the same time. Okay. And then we could go out in the field, and then when all of it fails because it doesn't work in the mountains. Hello, Wade, and everyone busy. Surely you know how that goes. Yes, I know that. Woody is superstitious, but does he use it? He uses dowsing rods. He's very superstitious. He's so superstitious, it's just beyond silly. Woody is, you can convince Woody or make Woody think things. So he is entirely, completely superstitious. He uses dowsing rods. He will use gold witches. He will use all kinds of things. And yes, he will believe absolutely in all those things. And you can actually heal him, because if he believes he thinks you're really healing him, he will heal you. But yeah, it's Woody is uniquely. Frank's kind of in the middle. He won't want to mess with something, or he'll be kind of that guy that's like, I'm not sure at all. And then there's me, who is just like, pooey on that. So, but yeah, Woody, and you have to understand, when people really believe in stuff like that, they really believe in it. So it can really, really affect them regardless. So I try to be careful around Woody. I mean, I always try to be supportive and convince him, Woody, Not the way you think. It's not really working that way. But and he'll argue with you till the cows come home. So, but he gets in his own way and in his own head with that stuff. So there you go. Do you think most of the easy placer gold has been? No, because it's always going to keep moving out. There's going to be fires. There's going to be rain. Things are going to constantly move. That's one of the nice things about gold. It's always going to move around. And I don't think anybody's found, since Woody and Frank and Larry kind of pulled out that 20 grand down in Hewitt, I would think that nobody's found a significant amount in some of those areas. And while it takes it a long time, I haven't heard of anybody else. And the funny thing with prospectors and guys that find gold, they can't keep their mouth shut and they like to show it on Facebook. So you usually know when someone finds stuff and all that. So Woody doesn't believe demons move the rods. No, Woody believes angels move the rods. He says there's little angels on them. That's what he says. There's no demons, there's no angels. But I can do some magic card tricks that go really well. How did the rendezvous go? I would have to be in the future for that, since it's October 25th, 26th, and 27th. Iron Stone, find the creek with your placer gold. Also, Iron Mountain. Well, Iron Mountain's not its name. It's not named Iron. It's named Irion Mountain. Irion, after the guy Irion that was a rancher up there, and then it was misspelled. I've talked before, most all the mountains and canyons, most everything is named after ranchers. LaBarge, Charlie Boy, Peters Mesa is named after a rancher. His name was Peters. So a lot of stuff in there was named after people, and Iron Mountain is that. It was Irion Mountain, and he had a ranch back in there. And then just, the Forestry Service does that. They misspell and all that. So Martin Charlie Boy and Phil LaBarge and all that stuff. So the names become the places for the most part. And that's how that goes. So Woody doesn't believe, okay, we did that. How'd the rendezvous go? Placer gold, 3-sided pyramid, or 4-point, or 2-point. I don't know. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides to it. It's got 4 sides that I can see, because I see 3 sides from here, and there's a 4th side behind there. So there it is. I'm pretty sure. Could be 3 sides. I don't know. I'm not going to get up and look at it. Knock out my stuff. Larry Hedrick, who was in the mountains with a bunch of times with Tom and suggested the mountain, Iron Mountain. Well, Larry does historical Civil War research and stuff. He's not a Dutch hunter, and he knew Tom, and he helped with the museum, and Larry's my friend and stuff, but Iron Mountain, Tom would have even told him it was named after Irion, okay? So, for Tom, it has nothing to do with iron, okay? The mineral or stuff. So, Larry's just telling you a story, and if Larry believes it, that's fine, perfectly fine. But Larry should know his history better when Tom is the one that wrote those things. Tom wrote comprehensive pieces on the place names and how they came and the ranchers and stuff in the mountains. So I will always stick with Tom. I will stick with Tom no matter what, compared to Larry or most anybody else. But yes, Larry knows what Tom told him. I'm sure Tom told him that. I'm sure Larry doesn't remember. So, but Iron Mountain is named after Irion. Hewitt, there was a guy named Hewitt. Okay, so you get the idea here. So when they named him, it was, I did a thing on that where they come into a little dell in a valley down this canyon and this creek, and they ask, what's that? And they go, that's Thomas Creek. And they go, what's that? And he goes, Smith Glen. And, oh, okay, and this is Smith Valley, and what's that over there, that ridge? And he says, well, that's Thomas Canyon. And they said, oh, okay, what's your name? And he said, Thomas Smith, because that's how things were named. People just lived there or worked there, were there prominently in a certain period. They would just become named. That's why we have Reed's Water, which is spelled different ways, but that's just because Abe Reed was there for quite some time. Okay. Oh, we got over Larry. Not sure. I think Wayne will know more. I don't know about that. Okay. Is that what, okay, were you just talking to Larry? Bless your heart, Wayne, at us young bloods. I don't know. Us young bloods born 88. Afraid of the hunt. Oh, you are young, and I swear to bring all this found before you first. That sounds like some sort of knight thing. I have a sword. I have several swords. I have a lot of swords. I have a Spanish sword. I have a Templar sword. Yes, I have a katana as well. I don't know what I guess the Spanish sword, if I got I'm a Don, so I should swing the Spanish sword. Frank doesn't have a Templar sword. If he has one, it's one of those cheap plastic ones from the Masons. I have one that's made of steel. So it comes from Toledo, Spain, which is where they make some of the finest swords in the world. There you go. We have a video of that, of us opening swords from Spain that we received. And that's weird because I don't think Trevor's ever put that up. I will ask Trevor to put that unboxing of those swords that were brought back from Spain in a video package for Friday on the Rendezvous on the 25th, because we will not be doing live. So I got to remind myself of this. But tell Trevor, 25th, that will be our package that day, so you can see the swords. So I'm trying to think. The swords are laying in there with the tomahawk and the pistols and stuff. I don't know. All kinds of stuff. There's stuff laying everywhere. Bless your heart. How did that... Did Frank and Woody locate the Hewitt Gold? Did they take a chance? That's a funny story, and let me catch up a little, and I'll catch to that. So, the big fellow that passed you away really emphasized the big fellow passed away, tricking the trail. I don't know what the big fellow is. The only one sight is Miner's Needle. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. The big fellow. Greetings, Wayne. Gold Prospect in San Antonio, Texas, where every day is a golden day. It is a golden day, other than getting sick. And on the side, did anyone complain of long time? No, we've talked about that. I just recently did some filming for some stuff with Glenn Evans and his crew. They came out and met with me and Frank on a project for 2025. And we all hung out, and me and Glenn talked at that at length. I've kept in touch with most everyone that was there, for the most part, and Magnuson and DeLille are doing fine. So that was something, because I stayed kind of out of a lot of it, and I was really concerned, and I told everybody after we left that day, no matter what, if you sign an NDA, I will always go to court for you, and I will always testify, because they were forced to do that. And that was a very bad thing, because those guys were not giving proper... I got photographs of everybody messing around in there. They had no gloves. They had no respirators, no masks, nothing. They gave them these little paper masks that it was raining, and they just fell apart instantly and had gobs crap. So everybody was working without masks and everything else. And I'm like, no, you guys don't worry about the NDAs. I'll go to court. And I did not sign an NDA for that. They tried to get me to sign one for me falling and getting a concussion. But, yeah, as far as that, I wouldn't sign anything for, because I told them, nah, I didn't go over there, and I wanted to keep my options open to help others. Okay. I listened to that line stamp from 2 weeks ago, that weird... Yes, I went back and listened. I still don't know what it was. There was nobody in the house. I've listened to it multiple times. I don't know. It was weird. So I have to peg it down to it had to be a dog in the hallway or someplace, even though I didn't see anything. And it was just weird. And I've listened. I've never had, who knows? It could be 100 different. Maybe it was my AC getting ready to go on the blink. As you can tell, I'm not too worried about it. Hey. Be careful with the guitar there, Jax. Okay. Okay. Did you go back? But I did go back and listen to that and all. And I kept that pinned in file because I found it very interesting. Jesuits were in Green Valley. Your video a couple months ago said that Temple had to go back to Mexico, never to return to the prearranged one. Okay, one to Grand Cathedral. Okay. Josh Carter, you and Trevor showed us the swords on Friday Live one time. Trevor, first comment. Okay, did we show you unboxing? We didn't do the unboxing, did we? It wasn't where we pulled them out. We just kind of showed the swords. So we did an unboxing, so maybe we can't use that. Well, thanks for ruining that, Josh, because I was like, what am I going to do that Friday? Because we'll buffer, we won't be able to do that. The big guy, Hank Schaefer. I don't know how much Hank was ever in the mountains or what Hank really knew. He wrote a book, told some stories. I don't know. Okay, well, it's hard. Sorely missed man. Are you bringing Jacks? Probably not. No unboxing. No unboxing. Okay, so the unboxing video still. There's a bunch of videos we've never shown. There are the Dutch hunters. Okay. Sunsets is actually at the vendor now. We're waiting to hear back about approval and the burning of the Blu-rays and stuff. Hopefully they will get back to us here soon, and they're getting everything done, but everything's supposed to be done, packaged, and shipped to us. But it's a very particular thing, and I think a lot of people can qualify as Dutch hunters because they're interested in the Lost Dutch Mine. I think if you're interested, if you went somewhere and you were searching and stuff. So I would say Larry Hedrick could fall into the area since he went out with Tom and he was involved with the museum, as saying he was a Dutch hunter. He was out in the mountains with Tom when Tom was always keeping an eye out. Okay, so that being said, the rendezvous, I always invite Larry. I invited Hank. He never came out. Charlie, he never came out. Invited him. Jack came out, and hopefully Jack will be well enough to come out. Those guys weren't Dutch hunters like Ron and Shoes and Tom and Greg and Clay. It's a completely different thing. Mitch Waite was a Dutch hunter, but there are guys that you don't want to say something negative. You're not trying to say the wrong thing about them. They are people that, don't search for the Lost Dutchman, tell stories about the Lost Dutchman, but they really, and they'll be like their family, oh yeah, they went back in, they took me back in when I was a kid and stuff. Okay. If they didn't come to the first 5 or 6, 7 rendezvous, that said a lot, and none of them did. I have the books where we all signed and everything of all of us. Larry does not want to go to Music Mountain. He has no interest in that whatsoever. I know Larry. I talked to Larry. Larry would laugh at that and say he has zero interest in doing that. He might want to, for nostalgia, go. I don't even know if he'd really want to fly over the Superstitions at this point. But it's hard to kind of you don't want to if Larry and I were sitting there talking, he would make a separation between the two of us and our experiences in the mountains. He went in with Tom. Larry was not going back in the mountains and doing all kinds of stuff. There's a complete different limitation of what he did in his interests. If he had never met Tom, it would have been very, very, there would have been far less involved. Because I think it was him and Ron Lawrence met Tom and went to some of the classes and stuff and the talks and stuff and became friends with Tom. And they were good friends and they rode in together and stuff. And we all know Larry, but Larry isn't... I don't know how to explain that. He got special recognition, but yeah, it's, and Larry's the first one that'll sit there and discuss it with me. He's like, I'm not going to get Treasure Hunter of the Year, Dutch Hunter of the Year, because I'm not a Dutch hunter or a treasure hunter. And that kind of points it out. I don't need to do an interview with him having him state that. If he can tell some stories and tell some history and stuff, that's all good for him, because I like Larry. But it's just, it's hard with that, is when people really kind of want to lump a lot of things together that aren't. And if you come to the rendezvous and you get a group of us around a campfire, you'll find there's names that people put in, and they'll say, and people will go, who? Well, so-and-so, he was really well known. And it's like, who? And then we'll have to kind of I know who they're talking about. So, well, when was he around and all? And yeah, there's a very different. The Dutch hunting community knows itself. People always think it's a club or it's an inner circle. It's just the involvement of people and knowledge and so forth of that. So Clay, yeah, Clay's awesome. Hopefully Clay's doing really well. I think the world of Clay, Ron Feldman. Yeah, Ron's an old Dutch hunter. Well, now Ron's an old Dutch hunter, but he came out in his teen years. Larry and Sal can split helicopter time, Sal. I wonder if Sal's ever been up in a helicopter. If anybody would want to get in a helicopter with Sal. That'd be scary. Okay, we bring propane, the old black stone. I don't know. God, I don't know how well Sal and Larry knew each other. I don't think Sal and Larry really know each other. Because again, Sal hung around as Dutch hunters and hung around a lot of people, you know. And Larry did just for the purpose because of Tom and doing interviews and stuff for the museum. But it's very different. So, and then there's people that know people because they spend a lot of time with people. And so it's different. It's different. So, and like again, because Larry does his thing with Dave and them over there on their little channel, for whatever Dave's making off of that, that's his thing, and I just try to stay out of their way. But that's different. That channel is not for treasure hunters, Dutch hunters. They don't do lives. I don't think they really show. They show up at events I have. They just kind of drift in. Because Larry's always welcome to Treasure Hunt of the Year and the Rendezvous. They always are. But yeah, it's just because everybody's welcome. But yeah, I don't think I ever saw Hank Sheffer. Never saw Charlie. Charlie was invited. Hank was invited. They just had nothing to do. They don't want to go down and hang out at the Rendezvous with those guys. Because again, if they start spinning their yarns, people are going to call them on stuff. And people generally have just, there's a few people out there that I'm friends with, but yeah, they'll say, I don't come to the Rendezvous because I don't need to be, I'm just going to have to sit there and keep my mouth shut because I really don't. I'm not in the league with those guys. But when they're sitting around the museum, they can sit on a bench and be in the league with those guys. When I first started searching Arizona, I zoomed out. That's not searching Arizona, man. If your feet aren't on the ground, if your feet don't feel dirt and all that, you're not getting blisters, you never searched Arizona. Sal and a Chopper would be like Mel Brooks' movie. I don't know if he'd get in one, though. I don't know if I'd get in with Sal, because Sal could freak out and stuff. I don't know. I'll have to ask Sal that. Has he ever been in a helicopter? He'll probably tell me yes. He probably flew a fighter jet or something. Who knows what he's done. But, yeah, I just don't see Sal comfortable in that. It's Sal. Speaking of Woody being Superstition, there's another one. Salvador is very, very superstitious. Salvador and Woody. They should be in a Mel Brooks movie about a curse. Yeah, that would be it. He's been in UFOs. I don't think he has been, see. He's been around aliens, but he has not been in a UFO that I know of. And I've known Sal, and he would have told me the UFO story. So he would have talked to me about the UFO story. And he's never mentioned it. Nobody's there mentioning Drink to Bob Ward, so here we go. Can we bring propane? The old black stove. Oh, you can bring propane to the Rendezvous and cook on that. You could bring a grill that has charcoal. We're just going to have to be very careful. Campfires, that stuff need a fire ring, or definitely like in the big Ramada where we have a structure for it and have to watch spark. But yeah, because it has a spark arrestor, I believe, in there. But yes, we'll have to be very careful because of the fire danger out there. It's been very dry, very hot, and very windy. But so far that I know of on the property, and the property's been open and everything's good. But I'll know more tomorrow and have a better idea And hey, COVID didn't even shut us down. We never even slowed down for COVID, so we'll just keep on going. And after this year, which is the 133rd anniversary of Waltz, next year we should be back into the November days. And I don't know if we have to bring in our own helicopter, have Mitch Keldorf come in with water balloons and douse the whole area in order to make sure we don't have a problem. Okay, so everybody's kind of settled down there and all that. But we've talked about, and I don't, what we were discussing before. I don't want, I know there's a difference between Dutch hunters and people that are interested in the Lost Dutchman mine, and people tell stories of the Lost Dutchman mine, and there's very big differences in those things. And I never thought of myself as a Dutch hunter, but I am a Dutch hunter because I just realized after a while, it's hard to get around it, because what was I doing all that time and all these years in the mountains? And that was a discussion I kind of came over that a bit with, I think it was Shoes and Clay, and a couple of people were just pointing out to me, boy, you're not looking at the obvious thing sitting in front of you. So it's like, why the hell else would I have done some of the things I did? Yeah, exactly. So, and then this week I didn't do the update because I did the temperature, did a number of things, talk about the rendezvous, the 25th, 26th, 27th of October, coming up in a couple weeks or so, but did not touch the other most obvious thing, which is who I talked to in the last week. So I've talked to Greg Davis, I've talked to Frank Augustine, I've talked to Woody Wampler, I've talked to Bob Shoes, talked to Ron Feldman, and then it'll come to me who else I've talked to. I didn't talk to Hedrake. Frank was going to talk to Jack, San Felice. To think of who else I talked to. A lot of messages, a lot of texts and messages and stuff about the rendezvous. Salvador always shows up at the rendezvous. Me and Trevor and I had that discussion of, he said, should we send Sal's girlfriend Bobby a text about the rendezvous? And I said, yeah, but I said, we don't have to tell him. He just shows up. And he does. He'd be like sleeping in a corner when we get there. In fact, last year I thought it was funny because I drove in and I noticed Sal just standing on the side of the highway. And I guess he was waiting for someone or something. But yeah, I just saw him on the side of the highway. I was like, what the hell is he doing out there? And but I know Sal, and I'm sure he was trying to bring someone in or pulling over or standing there just to wave someone down. I don't know. He didn't even wave, so I just understood why the mystery is so upset by taking up with you for some videos or something. What? I don't know. I just never understood why the Mysteries channel was so upset to taking up, about doing that. I think Charlie was all into it. Charlie and I talked about it, and then he died. But no, Charlie and I were all into it. And I'm not going to discuss offers that were made to me. I was doing my thing long before they were doing their thing, obviously. And it was just, I saw it from a view of like, kind of think same thing I offered the ghost hunting groups is like, you do your thing, we'll do our thing, let's do it together, and then we each come away with our own thing. And it's cool because I always say, if you're competing with someone, competition is better if everybody's in there on the same page. If there's competition, it keeps you on your toes and keeps you doing things, and it gives you something to higher ground to shoot for. If there's no competition, you're the only person doing anything like that, you can get really lazy and not do as much programming. On the other hand, I am obviously have OCD and have to do a video a week, 52 weeks a year, and do lives every Friday. So there is also the other problem of they can't keep up with my pace, just because it is. We're already done with videos all the way almost to the end of the year. So go figure that one, huh? So I'm always pumping stuff in and telling Trevor, put that in you. That yes, our October Spooky Fest is all set and prepared and ready to go. But And I think there's some good ones. It's interesting. It's getting tougher because of stuff like that. But no, so I'm not going to disparage or degrade or say negative things about other people and other stuff and all. It was just, yeah, that would have been cool with Charlie, and I think it would have been awesome. And then its opportunity kind of missed the point. It's also different, the perspectives and so forth. There's a difference in how both groups approach things. And, you got to consider our involvement with the rendezvous and it's like when they did a thing about the Mountain Man rendezvous and it being with the Dutch Hunter rendezvous has nothing to do with the Mountain Man rendezvous of Bob Ward. Those two things have nothing to do with one another. That was completely, the name came up. It was called Three. I'll have to do a little history on that. Maybe next week I'll bring up some of that stuff because I have it in files. But the rendezvous was just a gathering of people from a forum, the Lost Dutchman Mind Forum by Ron Feldman. And we were throwing out, what do we call the event? And Joe Roboto thought we should have a name for it because he wanted to make T-shirts and coffee cups. And he did. I have one of the coffee cups up there. I don't remember which one. I think it's the second one from the left. I think that's the one. That's Joe Roboto's second rendezvous cup. The third rendezvous cup is the one with Tex Barkley's face next to the wall. So then we only did coffee cups for 5 or 6 years, and then we went to the ones we have now that we sell. I have those. But anyhow, the name came of, like, there were several different names, and everybody just kind of thought Dutch Hunter Rendezvous sounded good. It kind of fit with all the different people and different things and stuff. So it just had a nice ring to it. And we didn't think it was going to last that long. So that was it. And that was how it was. So, teaming up with you, I kind of got that. Whether you're hunting or not, it's always outdoors. Yeah, I like be outside. Yeah, competition in the open forum. Well, it's not the open forum, but yeah, it's if there's someone else doing something, you're kind of keeping an eye on what they're doing. I don't anymore, but because there's no Dutch Hunter doing what I'm doing, and doing has a website and the channels and the programs. Because you got to remember, they do one program that every couple of weeks, I think, and we do Chasing Legends for Mondays, the live on Fridays. We release 12 episodes every year or so of Legend of the Superstition Mountains, because we have ownership of the Legends and the Legends show and program, and then we have all the other stuff. So it's a multi-layered thing. It's Legend of the Superstitions multi-layered with Black Legion Films and Black Hand Productions. So it's an entity, okay? And these are all parts. This is just a piece of that entity. So it's very different. So I think people sometimes forget that, yeah, there's all these, we have the archival stuff we've done and other things. So we have a number of different programs we run. So it's kind of like a completely different thing, built for a different reason, preservation. I don't think they do anything for preservation. So, and that's not a knock. It's that we do things for certain reasons. And then things we're doing are shared through the Dawns and the Historical Society and stuff. So there's, it's two entirely different things. Not shot. They were too expensive. Shot glasses were too expensive. It was ridiculous expensive. Then Trevor found some in Spain, and I wish those ones, I think they were like Don Quixote ones, I wish he would have bought like 20. And we could have done something like with the raffle and stuff with some of those. But, yeah, that was, we looked at it because the other thing we were thinking of was playing cards. And when we looked at things, it was like, some of the stuff was ridiculously expensive. I think the playing cards were like $20, $25 a deck. And I'm like, why? So, we kind of backed out. So the coffee cups, hats, and shirts is what we stuck with. We're always trying not to, we don't want to burn people of we're just selling it to sell it. No, we're trying to make, we talked about a Treasure Hunt of the Year Award one that had the people's names on their backs and stuff. And then I realized how many names and how would we do it? And do we want the guys that we inducted to have to buy a shirt? No. But there's 33 people, so now I got to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to do that. So, Let's see here. So, coffee cups, not shot glasses. Yeah, Bob is a solid treasure guy. Also, for Goldfield's a sweet spot. Yeah, Bob's really good treasure. He's got a lot of stuff. Went chasing a lot of treasure all over California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado. Bob is one of Coronado's children. Always will be, even Mexico. He's journeyed everywhere. I love talking to Bob because every conversation he ends up somewhere else, somewhere in the Southwest, and with someone I know, and they're going down some dirt road and chasing something. So I love those stories. I love that stuff. And this week we had the similar conversation as always. Looking forward to this month's Monday Spooky. Yeah, and I think they're pretty good. I think I did a pretty good job. I tried to kind of settle in and say, okay, it doesn't have to be just this, because there was some stuff people told me, and one of the problems I have is I think sometimes when people are telling me things, they're just telling me what they think is kind of a ghost story, and then realizing as a storyteller I can not embellish it, but I will work it so it sounds better than it probably is. And then I thought, I'd rather kind of make sure I'm doing stuff, even if I don't believe in them, they're just good, solid stories and different. And that's kind of, so I think everybody will enjoy those. Are you bringing swag? No, because I don't spend that kind of money on stuff. That is one of the worst problems. It killed Joe Roboto, caused him grief and arguments. Randy Wright made him almost cry. That was one of the worst thing. It wasn't tourist trap prices either. None of it. It was just simply people say they would buy stuff, show up, not. Or people would say, well, I want you to ship it for me. And then Randy tried to ship stuff, and Joe did too. And then they were like, oh, it came broken. I want another one. And then Randy got stuck with additional inventory. And I don't know what would happen with Joe. But I never bought anything of that stuff. Everything was given to me. Joe gave me a shirt and coffee cups, but for my involvement and everything. But and then I got mine from Randy. I might have paid Randy for a couple of them. So I know at the end he had some and he just left the box behind. The last ones we did, which is the ones with has John Chuning's dog on the back and has Weaver's Needle with the crow on the front, which was a picture I took. And it was a really cool coffee cup, and nobody was buying them. And I told them, I said, that's the problem. You need something generic that just says Rendezvous, and they can just have it and all that. I told Trevor I wanted to go for the metal cups. I thought metal cups would be cool, and that was like through the roof. Crazy, stupid, expensive. So no shot glasses. Too expensive. Okay, and forward to this month's because see, I'm way behind. I'm go backwards, and then I bring in Pet Sounds and Sgt. Pepper, Clonely Cards Band. Late again, but nevertheless, you come in at the very end here in Long Island. There you go. Hello. Okay, if you still have a minute, what happened in Green Valley, Chuck? Green Valley, Chuck. Yeah, if Chuck's still there. How about Legend of the Superstition Mountain Steakhouse and Grill? I don't know. Everybody has a Dutch Hunter and stuff. Alone or whatever. Yeah, actually, that would be a thing. Now, if I hit the lottery and had the money, I'd buy out the Bacchuses. I'd buy out the ranch. I'd operate part of the cattle ranch, but you could pick your own cow. And I would have a steakhouse where the old Lost Dutchman store was, and people could drive down there and pick out their own cow. We'd pretend, right? But they would have a steakhouse like the old miners camp. We'd have a place like that down by Peralta Road, and it would be a big steakhouse with the Superstition Mountains as the view out the back patio. And we'd cook up your steaks, and we'd have it on the tin plates or the metal plates and the cups. Coffee, water, milk, no soda. I guess we could have iced tea. And we'd do what they did with the bare minimums. If you don't like steak and beans, well, you're shit out of luck. But see, there you go. Yeah, that'd be a great idea, and call it Legend of the Superstition Mountain Steakhouse. And then we would not allow Frank in, because he doesn't like beans, and tell him, unless you eat beans, you can't be part of this, because you have to eat beans with your steak. If only Wayne let the stream run all night while he has the movies, like, forget Is the stream? No, I don't forget the stream. I make sure the stream's off because there's too much. It's always going on here. Not like P. Diddy stuff, but there's always too much going on, in and out and stuff going on. Here's something I picked up. I don't know if everybody can see it. Yeah, it's Autobiography of the Blues, Lightning Hopkins. Piece of vinyl I picked up the other day. So there's something cool. Yeah, steak. So, yeah, we could give Woody and Frank something to do. Have them cook steaks. Well, howdy from Garhana. I don't know what Garhana is. Okay, oh man, you guys should have hid those extra cups out. The Superstition of people to find is it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and Texas Hold'em until 2 a.m. Black Cadillac. I don't know what Black Cadillac is. Won the lottery. I'd still work there for free. Free beer and steak. Yeah, so the beer, steak, all that stuff would be good. Hey, back up. Back up. There's a guitar there. You know better than that. The guitar's more valuable than you. Maybe. Now you look sad. Oh, now you're going to put your paws up. Because you're going to be all sad. Because I insulted you. Yeah. Well, don't mess with the guitar. I'm just asking you, okay? You know better. You've been taught better than that, okay? Have a good weekend. Yeah, it's about time to be getting out of here, isn't it? Oh, it is. Yeah, it's time to get out of here. It's dinner time, man. What are you guys doing? You got to keep me talking and messing around. Jesus, I'm hungry. And Jax is trying. That's why Jax is trying to knock over the guitar. He's trying to say, "You got to get the hell out of here" and stuff. Late checking in, but we did survive. I'm glad everybody survived, and the whole hurricane and all the tornadoes and all the nasty stuff. There you go, Wayne. You gotta listen to the album Cold Rose by Ryan Adams and the Cardinals. Okay, I'll keep it in mind. I'll look for it. Zips Burger time. Thank God it's Friday. Yeah, I don't know what I'm having. Pork chops? Not having Chinese. I'm not going to go out and get anything tonight. No pizza. Not sure what it is. Maybe I'll just make myself a sandwich. I just want to eat and relax. Thank you, Wayne. Have a great weekend, y'all. Wayne, enjoy the weekend. Cool temps and all. Well, it's not cooling off yet. The water wall around hospitals, amazing. Okay. That sounds good. I'm also the steakhouse idea. Thanks. Good enough tonight. Kept it live. And yeah, Trevor used to do those live things where you do the 24-hour live thing. I'm not interested in doing that. I get too grumpy after an hour or so. Magnolia Mountain, Easy Plateau. Those are 25 best songs from that album. Cool. Donuts. I like donuts. I like apple fritters a lot too. Build it and they will come. Bobby. Anyhow, I'm going to get out of here so I can put the guitar up. Let the dog go outside and have a smoke because here comes the other one. See, we've been here too long. Oh, no, Rocky. Now you guys got to back up. 2 dogs cannot fit here with a guitar. Now they took off. All right, anyways, that's it. We're getting out of here. I got to find my mouse. So I didn't know where I put my mouse. We will catch everybody the next time around. Catch us Monday for the first of our 4. I think it's only 4 for October. Maybe we'll do an extra spooky one for November. But 4 spooky videos. Ooh, only one hand because the other hand's on the mouse for October. Until then, hope everybody has a great weekend and everybody's doing well. And we will catch you all later. Have a good night.